shit. Fuck me. Bump the fucking table, the whole fucking thing goes down. What's up? Hey, I just fucking knocked down my whole goddamn crowd. Look at that bullshit. This shit's so annoying.
I'm not on camera, so no, you can't.
Hey man, how's
Hi,
it going?
sorry. I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you? I'm sorry for being a little late.
No, you're good, you're good. I'm alright. Just bumped my table just a tiny bit, knocked every single one of my crowd members down, but I'm alright other than that.
I'm about to say it'd be like that sometimes. I'm still trying to get myself readjusted back into the house. I literally just walked back into the door.
Alrighty, man. So, kind of give us a little backstory of your Fed, kind of when you started and how you got to where you are right now.
So right now we're on a little bit of a hiatus, just in the process of moving and reorganizing my setup. But it ended up being something I started in October of 2021 or October of 2022,
2022.
just because I wanted to rebuild my my collection of figures that I used to have when I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
So as I started doing that, I always, as a kid, did pick fetting, just never posted it anywhere. Didn't know that was a community thing that people did.
Right.
So once I found that out, I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm on this.
Right.
And here we are.
Awesome. Awesome. So you haven't been doing it that long,
Mm-mm.
so that's good.
It's been maybe 5 months if we're counting the time off I've had to take.
Yeah. I just hit my year mark this month, so I've been doing it for a year now. So.
Hey, congratulations! You're also one of my favorites to watch.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. It's great to hear. Sometimes I just feel like I don't get that many views or not very many people watch, but
Trust me, when I do dinner tonight, I'm gonna end up watching the 100 subscriber, the 100 follower match of Adam Cole versus Jeff Hardy. I seen it in my subscription box yesterday and was like, all right, I have a plan now.
I appreciate that. I'm trying to do a little shorter matches now since I got 2 shows I got to do, and
Yeah,
it's just a lot of stuff to work on. I'm not gonna have those big 40-minute shows anymore like I used to. They're still gonna be decent little matches.
I'm about to say, I think I'll definitely take the trade of getting more content in the average cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a worthy trade.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've been doing it since October. Do you have any champions crowned? Do you have any championships you're planning on
Oh,
having?
I've got a hell of a roster to go through. All right, so I have 2 shows. I have Raw and I have Dynamite. On Raw, we have our world champion being Roman right now. I think he beat Cody at the Rumble. IC champion should currently be AJ Styles. Hi, Maria. The tag team champions split between the shows are currently the Lucha Bros. CM Punk just won our other world championship over on Dynamite, beating Kenny Omega at the Rumble.
Uh-huh.
And Orange Cassidy is the current TNT champion. And technically, Asuka is the current women's champion. I will get some love in for them at some point.
All right. So did you kind of start your pick fed wanting to crown all your champions right off the bat, or how did you do that? Oh, crowning
So before I figured out who was going to be, or before I figured out that I was going to post these pick feds,
mm-hmm.
I was doing them for myself, for my partner in the house, just because it's a thing I enjoy doing. So I ended up starting with this weird semi-canon where I'm technically still in the middle of my first official Royal Rumble, but I've done a Royal Rumble off camera. So it ended up being, I remember Adam Cole and Kenny Omega were my first 2 world champions. And I was like, all right, from there, I booked out a couple of stories, a couple of arcs that still haven't really played out to their completion yet. But I have a plan for this.
Yeah. Sounds great. Awesome stuff. I had Adam Cole join my Fed, so it's going to be fun.
So I was so happy to see it.
So off of that, I'm guessing Adam Cole, Kenny Omega is one of your biggest rivalries. What are some of your other biggest rivalries going on right now, or maybe that you put together before you did this stuff?
So let's see. AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy had a rivalry that we'll have to revisit on camera. They had a banger set of rivalries. I think the recent Kenny versus CM Punk rivalry, although I think we all know why it happened, was a good little mini story, especially to set up what will happen in the near future. And the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros is always one of my favorite rivalries.
Yeah. I don't have the Lucha Bros in the Fed, but I'm hoping to put them in there soon since they do have two of theirs, and they're coming out with those old Supremes.
The Supremes.
Oh, those look good. I can't wait for the Kenny Omega one to come to stores so I can get that one.
Yes, same thing. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I just ordered, spoiler alert for the Fed upcoming, just ordered Malachi Black Supreme.
Oh, yeah.
It's gorgeous.
I mean, the sizes are kind of off, but they look too good not to have in your Fed.
Yeah, and I think that's my thing with it.
Yeah. A lot of people are getting that, I can't remember which one was. Either the blue one, either it's Unmatched or Unrivaled series.
Yeah, Unmatched. Unmatched is the blue foil.
Yeah, some people just got the new series, and that Ruby Soho and Brody Lee are just that Brody.
It's definitely not a bad figure, but if you're gonna get Malachi, especially with the mask that they give him in that one,
yeah,
just spring for the Supreme. Get the extra gear, the extra head skins.
Right. I mean, I'm gonna get every AEW figure I can, but that's just me. But yeah.
Oh, absolutely. The Lucha Bros were so hard to get my hands on.
Oh, really?
I can't even say the Lucha Bros. Penta El Cero Miedo is one of the hardest figures to find. I don't know why.
I had a local toy store, and they got that like 100 of those gold ones.
Well, I need to go visit that local toy store. I need a local toy store.
Yeah, it's kind of local. It's about an hour away, but
Listen,
where I get all my stuff.
Those old mom and pop type shops that I used to go to when I was a kid, where you could find figures from eras ago. Like, one of the biggest things I hate about Ringside is the fact that they cycle out every once in a while. I wish I could still find some of the older Uso figures, some of the older Stone Colds. I think Stone Cold had a lot of good old figures. Some of the older Randy Ortons.
Yeah, that'd be nice, but you got to go on eBay or Mercari and get them for like insane prices because they just. I don't even want to go over prices, but
Start out here having a hobby.
Yeah, right. So, what are some of your future plans? I know you took a hiatus here. What are your plans right now? What are you building towards in your new house or wherever you're living?
Right now we are in the middle of the Royal Rumble match, and I'm hoping that everybody's enjoying it. We just had the unofficial debut of Wardlow. But CM Punk's title reign should be really fun. Without trying to give too much away, the Rumble winner is going to end up fighting Punk at my first Supercard, my first Mania, my first. I think I'm calling it Dream Match Series. I think that's what we landed on over here.
Dream Match Series.
Yeah. But Punk's reign is going to be very fun, and then keep an eye on MJF. Keep an eye on Mr. Money in the Bank. He wrestles so infrequently that giving him that briefcase on the very first pay-per-view seems like a great way for y'all to forget that MJF has that.
Right. Yeah, I'm hoping to have my chase for the case pay-per-view after my Point Blank pay-per-view, so I think that's always a fun aspect to have in your Fed is that some guy holding that case.
Yep.
So very cool. You already have that in your Fed.
Especially when you have the patience to wait it out, to let it play the long game.
Right. I don't even have mine planned out. I got a few ideas who I want to win it, but then I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know who I'm gonna have be my champ next. So
I was about to say, I think this is interesting. I'm technically sitting next to my coworker right now, my partner. They're a little bit busy. That's why they're not communicating in the stream right now. But I wonder how many people plan ahead for their Feds.
Oh, man.
It's always something interesting because I have planned, I think, the next 4 or 5 pay-per-views.
Yeah, I used to do that. I'm so behind right now in planning. Because I'm trying to work on this draft.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do a draft and do a brand split. I mean, I got the rosters already separated because the guy I was going to work with couldn't really do it live, so I kind of had to kind of script the draft, but that's just a little exclusive here for everyone. But yeah, I'm working on the draft more than I am planning ahead. But yeah, about every person I've talked to has two or they have a whole year planned out that they're wanting to do. They got every pay-per-view set out how they want to do it, and everything's
I've
going
learned.
to change. But there's a
I'm
lot of
about to say
people.
I've learned that it's a lot easier to have a loose plan, have certain matches, certain stories you want to tell, but this being a figure-based community, they're constantly coming out with new figures. They're constantly coming out with first-time in the
Right.
lines and having to act like I have. We've made what 3 signings since moving that have to debut in different ways, shapes, and forms,
Right.
and get edited into the plans. It makes me have so much respect for Triple H, for Tony Khan, who are doing this with real people
Right.
constantly and don't have the luxury of a hiatus.
Yeah. They got a lot of help, but that's a hard job to do, their guys' jobs. Especially Tony Khan, because he doesn't seem like he really accepts help. He could have someone run Ring of Honor, and he could just run AEW, but he doesn't. So
I end up thinking that it gets delegated a lot more than we think. I think that's where the EVPs tend to come in. I think Tony has much more, like, he clearly has the final say over everything.
yeah.
But I think Tony is much more involved with Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
I think the EVPs, Kenny, the Bucks, the Elite, end up doing a lot for AEW. Like if I'm not sure how many people know this, but Kenny is actually the executive producer of their women's division.
Yeah. I saw a lot of people say that they should just give him the whole keys to the women's division, not even have Tony be a part of it. But I guess we'll see. But speaking on that, so you're working on the Rumble right now. And you said there's an upcoming pay-per-view. So how many pay-per-views do you do in a year?
So I try to do one a month. It ends up kind of slipping sometimes.
Right.
What I've gotten good at is I don't say that there will be a certain amount of shows before there's always a certain amount of shows before a pay-per-view. It's always 3 Raws, 3 Dynamites, and then my next pay-per-view, just in case I'm ever busy and can't time something out to land on the month that I want it to land on. Like, there's been months where I've had to do 2 pay-per-views. I think Double or Nothing and Fight for the Fallen both ended up in the same month. And just trying not to crowd that, but trying to do a pay-per-view a month to conclude stories, to constantly have something to be building to. As much as I love AEW, only having 4 or 5 pay-per-views a year makes a lot of the middling stuff feel like it's not as important.
Right. So, so we'll kind of get on to some of your lists here. Just name off a few people here. What are some of your favorite pick feds? You can name a top 5 or however you want to say. Just name off a few guys. Which guys do you like to watch?
Off the top of my head, I want to give a huge shout out to WEC. Mm-hmm. I see House of Figs in the chat. Huge shout out to House of Figs. I love them. Obviously, BWF. I know you've heard it a lot. That dog collar match is a cinematic masterpiece.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I was hoping a lot more people would post about that ending, but I guess not a lot of people saw it. But
listen, I actually just was able to sit down and really enjoy it. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody.
Yeah.
But I was not expecting it to, especially with how the match was paced. One of the things I love about your Fed, the pacing of the matches is always so good. It's so much character. It's always I love Feds that get into the specifics of how different wrestlers operate. It's one of the hugest things I like to do. I like to feel like everybody fights in a different style because they do.
Exactly.
So seeing Malachi dominate for as much of that match as he did, and for the match to end the way it did, was very. If you haven't seen that match, go see it now.
Well, thank you, man. That makes me feel really, really good about that match. I just feel like a lot of people didn't really watch the pay-per-view, but hearing you talk about it makes me feel really good.
Hey, listen, if you ever need to know one person is watching or 2 people are watching, me and my co-booker, we're on your as soon as you come up in our subscription box.
Awesome, man. So, are there any other guys? You mentioned House of Figs. You mentioned me. Are there any other guys?
WEC. Here's a person that probably doesn't get many shout-outs. Shout out to Chaos.og. They're a very clearly younger Fed, but for as much as I'm not too big on the hand-moving Feds, it's something about seeing people enjoy what they're doing.
Yeah.
You can tell that Chaos OG just has so much love for these figures, love for the Fedding. We got to get him a bigger ring. We got to get him a scale ring.
Yeah. I mean, there's some perks to the scale ring, then there's some negatives because I feel like it's hard to do a singles match and
yes,
walking.
Those rings are so goddamn
stop
big.
Motions. It's just so much space you gotta take.
Like I feel like most of my matches end up taking place in a singular corner.
Right.
Because there's so much space. There's no way I could possibly have everybody do that much space.
Right. Exactly. Kind of go off that. What are some guys that are underrated? What are some guys under the radar that you think should get some recognition, like the Chaos OG kid?
Okay. I wish I could sit there and scroll through my timeline because I'm blanking on so many names right now. Of Feds that I like that are more under the radar. Because I being as small a page as I am, my community that is around me is very tight-knit, very niche. Mm-hmm. I'm just not active over here enough to have the names in my head right now.
Yeah, that's fine, man. That's not a lot of people. It's kind of on the spot here when we're talking. So, but one guy I do like to mention, NGW. He's always in these chats. We're gonna hopefully chat with him later on in the months, and he just recently started out, and I really enjoy his stuff. So, there's someone that's kind of under the radar for me. He's supporting me a lot in these lives, so shout out to him. But what are there any? You mentioned hand fetting. That's something I don't enjoy. I will have to say I don't enjoy that. But people do it, and it's fun for them, and they got people that watch it. But what are some stuff you don't enjoy? What's some other stuff?
For me, it's mostly the hand fetting. I think that's because I've adopted the more comic strip style. I feel like once I had the time, energy, and patience to stop motion is clearly the peak, the magnum opus of fetting until they make robotic figures that you can have operate on their own. You know, I said that as a joke. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
When that comes out, I want my trademark. But I can't say that I have too many styles I don't enjoy. I think between the comic book style and the stop motion fetting, there's so much good to look at that I tend to not really interact with too much that I don't like.
Exactly. Right. I do this comic book fetting just to get, because I had some people when I first started out saying I wasn't a pick fetter, so I was like, hell, if I'm not a pick fetter, I'll just do the comic book thing like everyone else on Instagram to prove that guy wrong. So I started doing that. So I'm doing a little stop motion and the comic book thread. But the one thing I do not like is no commentating with stop motion.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that do it, and they're so great. If they would just put that little bit of extra,
it's that bit of immersion.
Right? If they just put that little extra time, like I put in commentary, it doesn't have to be great.
Right.
I watch the kids that are like 12 years old and their balls haven't dropped and their squeaky little voices, and I'd rather watch that over some masterclass pick fed stop motion
5-star Meltzer match with just a generic royalty-free song in the background.
Yeah, it's just and they're so good. And I hate to say
it's one of the things that I'm trying to figure out with the comic books out, like learning the tools of Instagram. I feel like my Fed grows in production every day. Like learning that I can put songs over over just a regular reel, which I should have known I could do that. I don't know why I didn't know that. But doing that and now using entrance themes and then learning that I can voice over that. So now giving them ring introductions, even though it's a still frame. Or, well, it's actually not a still frame because the Titantron. But it's so interesting.
But hey, it's what people like to do. It's what they do. They get their views. It's just There's a lot of people that just don't like it like me, and I always gotta get that off my chest during the lives when we talk about this.
Hey, man, listen, I get it.
So, are there any, let's go into the more wrestling aspect. You can name off pick fed answers for these. What are some of your favorite matches in wrestling history? Could be from WWE, AEW.
Okay, I've been waiting to talk about this. The greatest wrestling match I've ever seen actually happened this year. Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay from Wrestle Kingdom was a masterpiece.
He might break it this Wednesday with Ilha.
Yes, and I love Kenny for it. It's funny. I didn't get into AEW until last year, which means I didn't know who Kenny Omega was until last year, and that was during his hiatus.
Wow.
So ending up getting to see Young Bucks, Lucha Bros, Steel Cage at All Out 21 is a masterclass. MJF versus CM Punk dog collar match is a masterclass. MJF versus Bryan Danielson. CM Punk versus John Cena, Money in the Bank 2011. AJ Styles versus Cena, I want to say it was the Royal Rumble 2017, 2018?
I believe so, yeah.
Somewhere around there. And I'm trying to think of a good TNA match, but the only match that comes to my mind when I think of TNA is Victory Road 2011, and I don't like talking about that.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of wrestling back when I was a kid, so I couldn't say much about anything TNA or anything. But if I was a fan back there, I'd probably be a TNA fan. I'd be able to tell you more about that. But a lot of my knowledge is from watching stuff backwards, like from 2000 and so on and before that. But yeah, that's a lot of great answers there. Is there any pick fed matches that come to mind? I know there's one that comes to mind. NLW did a 60-man Iron Man match with Okada and CM Punk, and I thought that was the greatest pick fed match of all time. Not only that it was great in everything it was, but 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Like exactly 60 minutes.
It's wild. It's an unfathomable task. I even had to learn with the Rumble that there can't be regular intervals. I have to count by the picture.
Right.
It's the only way to. So that sounds just fucking.
I made my Rumble rule where it would be randomized. So I would, whenever the hell I felt like it, the time thing comes down, and I named it the Riot Rumble to go off the pay-per-view. So It's kind of a riot. Everything's random and shit. So I didn't want to do the every 90 seconds. Oh,
yeah. Very randomly to give you a compliment. Absolutely love your production and creativity in your match cards. Making match card graphics is one of my favorite things to do. And I found one of the reasons that I use Raw and Dynamite are because I found match card templates that work for me. So seeing those very, very customed, the ones for Riot specifically, pop out in my head. The entire social media tournament bracket as it was happening before Cody was officially crowned. The amount of production, same thing. I don't know if you remember this. This will be a nice blast from the past for you if you do. You once designed belts for me that I thought was really cool. And then seeing the social media championship, it specifically is really cool because I can see the base of the belt. And then I see where you went with it and the customization of it. Those things are amazing.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I feel like I got a real fan here. I would bring the belt up, but I don't know where the hell it is. But yeah, I'm making a mess here. Got a lot of everything's piled up over here right now because after I just ended the pay-per-view and all that stuff, and I gotta clean stuff up. But if I knew where that belt was, I'd show it to you. But yeah, the graphics, man, it's just going out there, taking your time, looking up stuff like pictures. That for the Riot thing, I just looked up Riot and looked for a Riot picture from the Black Lives Matter riot.
Right.
I just found one, put in the background, then I just put Riot. It's just something simple like that. And not only the match cards, but the posters I really enjoy making.
I haven't even gotten to that era of doing that, but I want to so badly. I remember I used to stitch my match cards together, so you would see every individual match.
Yeah, I don't know if you My girlfriend printed these out for me, and
That's
they make a really great addition to the man cave. This is my first ever pay-per-view one. It's just
that
simple, but this one I really enjoyed because the little camera.
the film reels, the layering, it's beautiful.
And I'm working on my next Point Blank 2 poster already before I even plan out what the hell I'm doing for the pay-per-view. But yeah, it's a mess down here. As you can see, you got a shit all over the place. I actually got a second arena building for my second show, so.
Shout out to I'm gonna butcher this. Riken 316. Shout out to Riken 316 for nothing else. 3 Days Grace makes really good music. It definitely fit for the Riot theme.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's noticed. I use that for Miro. I use I Am Machine by 3 Days Grace for Miro just because I think it's a better song than his actual theme. And then I learned about Brian Cage and realized it would work perfectly for him, but I don't care much for Brian Cage.
Yeah, I don't seem to be able to find that belt. Here's my world title, but that's not really special. I'll find it sometime while we're chatting, but yeah, I appreciate them, man. Appreciate all the compliments. What are some of your favorite companies? You mentioned AEW.
I'll say I'm a huge AEW guy right now.
Yeah.
I want to be a New Japan guy. It's not the most accessible thing in the world. I'll say this because I know nobody will ever say it. YouTube is a wonderful place because you'll find things from like MLW. I can't say I've seen too much from CW yet. But you'll find a lot of very local indie shows featuring some of your favorite wrestlers. Like I just watched, we just sat here and watched Orange Cassidy versus Chris Statlander the other day. And I couldn't tell you what promotion it's from, but YouTube has a lot of gems. MJF versus OC. I like Orange Cassidy, and I don't know why most people do. But YouTube has a lot of gems. I'll say I very much stick to the big two as of right now, just for them being easily accessible. And I'll say I have a huge preference for AEW over WWE because if you're not in the bloodline, you don't matter right now. Excuse me. If you're not in the bloodline or named Cody Rhodes, you don't matter.
Right. I love Cody Rhodes. I'm a huge Cody Rhodes fan.
But I also like Finn Balor and need him to fight anybody not named Edge. Rollins is great though. If I watch WWE for no one else, I will always watch WWE for Seth Rollins.
Right.
The drip god.
Yeah. He's doing a lot of work for them right now. Putting on bangers after bangers and still losing, but still winning somehow. It's just
right. He's ascended to that point where WWE used to have this phrase where the wins and losses don't matter, and it was always bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But Rollins has ascended to the point where wins and losses really don't matter for him.
Right.
Same thing. Here's a controversial wrestling take that nobody asked for. I like Austin Theory's cash-in. A lot of people were mad about it, but the reason I like it, I don't mind a failed cash-in. It happens when Cena did it, when Sandow did it. Sandow didn't deserve it, but when it happened, it happened. Austin Theory is the first person to ever use Money in the Bank on a mid-card championship, and it made me rewrite my plans because I was going to do it, because no one does that. I don't know why no one does that, because it's specifically any title, anywhere, anytime thing.
Exactly.
That's a huge way to value a mid-card championship. He used it on the United States one, too.
Mm-hmm.
A really good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I still got plans for my cash-in thing. I recently got the X Division title, which now thinking about that, I don't even know where that belt is, so I'm really going to have to look.
Okay, I'm just glad I'm not the only person that loses belts left, right, and center. Same thing. I'm planning to. I'll spoil this because I won't say how it's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm planning to replace the WZW Championship spinner belt variation with the AEW World Title because I just think it's a good-looking belt.
Yeah.
But oh my goodness, is it so easy to? And you only ever lose the one you need in the moment.
Right. I got so many belts here that are just sitting around that aren't even for anything. Just
Someone tell
Yeah.
Jazzers to make the trios championships. I need to have 3 of them so I can lose them as many times as I need to.
Yeah, right. So you mentioned AEW, WWE, TNA. You want to be a New Japan favorite, but yeah, you got kind of hard to watch them all. But what are some of your? What's that weekly show you try to catch every week live? Like I catch Dynamite every week live.
And,
I record
yeah.
Rampage and I try to watch those, but sometimes I forget. And now I have the Honor Club subscription, and I'm watching those every Friday at work when I have Wi-Fi and shit. So, but
For me, I will always make sure I catch Dynamite. I've realized that I'm too in love with the character work of MJF to miss Dynamite, especially if he's on it. Rampage, I'll try to catch, but I'm okay if I miss it. Ironically, I'll try to catch SmackDown just because, like I said, the Bloodline is the only thing of relevance in WWE right now,
right.
and Roman's on SmackDown technically.
Right. Yeah.
Although I've been seeing them appear on Raw more and more, and I'm not going to watch that 3-hour show. Man, why they do that?
Yeah, I don't really catch any WWE. I might go in and watch a promo or something because
I'll simply catch a pay-per-view just because I have a free Peacock subscription.
Right. Same. I got Peacock and I catch the pay-per-view. So, I mean, can't really fuck up a pay-per-view too much to not have someone watch it. So.
Oh, WWE tries though.
I know. So, so we went with that. What's a moment in wrestling? I know the moment I normally like to remember is the streak being broken. Maybe any cash-ins of the Money in the Bank.
I was about to say, for me, the heist of the century will always be one of the craziest moments. Rollins' cash in to save the Mania 31 main event.
Yeah.
It's always going to be one of the best moments. If the cameras would have caught it correctly, AJ Styles' debut will forever be one of those most heartwarming moments in wrestling for me because I was such a big AJ fan. I never thought it would happen. And it happened, and I kind of lost my mind.
Right. A lot of people mention the Mankind getting thrown off the Hell in a Cell is a huge moment, which I was a huge fan of Mick Foley because I'm a Hoosier, and I guess he's kind of a Hoosier, but yeah, that's one of my favorite guys. So that's a lot of people's moments, like the heist. A lot of people mention that. It was a great moment.
Here's a moment that will always stand out to me. I don't know how many. Well, we should remember it, but Jeff Hardy's farewell after losing to CM Punk in the steel cage match on whatever random episode of SmackDown in like 2009. Just the way Jeff. It was the first time I realized that underneath his longer shirts that I don't like, he still wears the pantyhose wristbands. I didn't know that. I don't know why, but he does. But just getting to sit with Jeff Hardy and watching him, dap up everybody. His music plays one last time. And the next week, his music plays to start the show, and CM Punk comes out in face paint, and it's fucking hilarious.
All right.
As a kid, I was angry. I think I might have got in trouble that day for cursing at my TV. But wholeheartedly, it, in retrospect, is hilarious.
Yeah, that's someone I'd like to see back in AEW. CM Punk. I think the heel CM Punk would be huge. And
I'd still need the conclusion of the story with MJF.
Yeah, I think, honestly, if I'm being honest, I think CM Punk's the only guy that can beat MJF. I don't think you take the title off MJF.
I don't think
CM Punk.
MJF loses his belt in 2023.
No. If he does, that's going to be dumb. But that 4-pillar match, I will say.
Oh, I'm so
excited. That's going to be. Ooh. If I was Tony Khan, I'd do that match. CM Punk comes back, beats him at the next pay-per-view it's the start of 2024 or whatever, and then heel CM Punk takes on Darby, and Darby ends up winning the title.
To bookend from Punk's first match.
Yep. That's how I'm
the only person not super clamoring for CMFTR versus the Elite. I think as interesting as it would be because everybody in it is super talented.
Yeah.
Guys, yes, they had a fight backstage. I don't care enough to watch them play fight it out on TV. I don't care.
I mean, I would probably I would throw the Kenny CM Punk heel CM Punk versus Kenny before
Mm-hmm.
the Darby CM Punk
Right.
feud. Have that match because Kenny Omega versus anyone in a singles
It's
match, who doesn't want to
going
watch
to be
that?
phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah. He literally wrestled a little girl, and it was still probably better than a lot of
He
people's done.
wrestled a blow up doll and got like a 3.5-star match out of it.
Yeah. So flipping Kenny Omega, so could wrestle a wet paper bag and it'd be a 5-star. So
The best bout machine.
So, what are some of your favorite wrestlers? I know I mentioned Mick Foley was one of my favorites. I will say my GOAT is Chris Jericho. Who are your favorite guys? Who's your GOAT? So, just
All right, let's give my top 3 in-ring wrestlers or my top 3 favorite wrestlers as of right now.
Right.
Go 1A, MJF, 1B, Kenny Omega. Kenny's the best physical wrestler in the world, but MJF never loses my attention, ever. I've mentioned him at least 8 times since we've started this very live, but I love a good heel. I love a piece of shit. And Max does it to a fucking T.
Yeah.
But
Beyonce hates that MJF's my favorite.
You're supposed
to. Much. I just love him. He's just the best.
And then I love that he's always right in the end, for real. And I don't know why people keep forgetting how good he is in the ring, but he's really fucking good in the ring.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kenny at 1B for very obvious reasons. Kenny is one of the top wrestlers in the world. Jon Moxley, specifically after the 2022 he had, I can't not put him in this list.
Mm-hmm. That sounds pretty spot on to what I would say right now are the top guys. So
yeah, I'd have to add in maybe AJ Styles when WWE wants to treat him like he is, and give me a toss-up between Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins and Will Ospreay. Give me a toss-up between Seth Rollins and Will Ospreay.
Mm-hmm. Is there any all-time guys? Any all-time guys that you would put in there?
The Undertaker is a legend. Shawn Michaels is one of the best performers I've ever seen in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Cena is an icon. Huge fan of Sting. I've recently gotten really into Sting. I feel like there's one big name that I'm missing.
Stone Cold, The Rock, CM Punk.
Austin Punk. I don't believe I didn't say Punk. Punk, and well before the pipe bomb, but the era of wrestling that Punk created with that pipe bomb.
Right. Exactly.
And Randy Orton. My co-booker would kill me if I didn't mention Randy Orton.
Right. Do you have a GOAT? I mentioned my GOAT was Chris Jericho, greatest of all time.
It's so hard for me because right now, if I had to say, the way I always do my GOAT conversations for anything is you could only watch this person's matches, listen to this person's music. So who would be the one person I couldn't give up right now? It's Omega, which is weird because I have not seen so much of Omega's career.
Right.
But
have you gone back and watched his New Japan stuff against Okada or anything?
I have seen the Okada matches. I need to get deeper into Kenny's run. I need to go through the Bullet Club Civil War, his matches with Cody.
Yeah.
But those Okada matches are stuff of legend. And I think I can't give anybody else the greatest of all time other than the greatest in-ring wrestler I have ever seen in my life.
I mean, maybe he'll be the GOAT one day, but there's a lot of WWE fans that won't ever mention Kenny Omega in the top 5. So,
which
we'll see.
It's sad. I feel like the tribalism in the wrestling fandom now is so depressing, especially if you think back about the Monday Night Wars, which should have been the greatest thing is both of these companies now have to make a better product than the other. It should constantly be one-upping itself. WWE had to step its game up when AEW came around. And AEW had a lull of a 2022. And honestly, if that is a lull for AEW, their highs are ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so I can't there are wrestlers I don't like in both companies, but I don't know how you could look at AEW and find nothing. You don't like Orange Cassidy. I think you're weird, but fine. You don't like Kenny Omega? How? You don't think John Moxley is a huge step up? I've seen people say that John Moxley should go back to the Shield. And it's the biggest miscast I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I say with a person I say on my pick fed as John Moxley is currently in the Shield.
Right. I did bring back the Shield for one match, I will say, but they broke up right after because of Seth Rollins. But I had the Shield one time for one match.
I have a feeling that everybody, it's kind of an open secret on my page that the Shield are eventually going to break up. Mm-hmm. I only have them together now so that when I do put the Blackpool Combat Club back together, because they started together, when I put them back together, people won't ask me to do the Shield anymore.
Yeah. I want to do a little bit of what's it called? What's the group of three called? Faction.
Trios.
Yeah, a faction. I'm going to do a faction type war thing with like the Inner Circle, Bullet Club, the Elite, all that stuff. I want to do that one day. I'm getting a lot of people in my set. I got a big number of people, so I'm doing the brand split. But yeah, I want to do. I don't think the Shield's going to be a part of it because they got their own factions, honestly. So,
yeah,
we'll see down the line.
The BCC. Honestly, if you don't end up using the House of Black for this, which I think you should,
I do have the House of Black.
Never forget that Rollins's little cult thing that he did during the pandemic was great.
Mm-hmm.
The Monday Night Messiah was the name of the gimmick, I believe. Never forget that was great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, a lot of people use that still. I think GCW, I believe, still uses that. Whereas he's got him with Viscera and trademark something. I don't know. Something like that. But he uses that little cult leader type Seth Rollins, which, I mean, is cool, but I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of big names that I just don't know what to do with, so it's kind of hard to think about.
It feels like that, but at the same time, you're always wanting to add to the roster. The roster always needs a new guy. It always needs a new body.
Yeah, I got a bunch of figures I still want in. I want to add Edge. I don't know how to do that. I want to add Randy Orton. Don't know how to do that. I want to add the Mysterios in there someday. I don't know how to do that. So it's kind of hard to put everyone in there when you already got a big giant roster
with
of like
history that's ongoing.
Yeah. I mean, I literally got a whole bunch of guys that I haven't used Brock Lesnar since my first pay-per-view, and I just don't.
Which is crazy because he's such a big name, but what do you do with a Brock? You find another monster for him to fight, and then Brock fucks off that to his tractor until there's a new monster.
Right, and that's what I'm doing. I'm waiting until that new monster shows up, and I had a plan. I will say this. I don't think I'm going to do it, but I'll say it for the 4 people watching. I was going to do after the pay-per-view till I decided the brand split. I was going to do Okada Brock Lesnar rivalry and do like an Okada Beast Slayer where Okada goes after giants of wrestling and takes them out one by one.
I'd be here for that. I want to see Brock no-sell a Rainmaker, though. I want to see – oh, no, excuse me. Let's not see Brock no-sell a Rainmaker. Let's see Brock counter a Rainmaker into an F5. Mm-hmm. That sounds fucking hard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to do that match one day, but I'm not doing it anytime soon. I just don't like you said you had a partner doing this. I wish I had one of those. I wish I had someone to talk to because I don't want to talk to like the fans. So could, but right. I don't want to.
I want it to be special for y'all, but I want to.
I wish I had that.
Someone to bounce ideas off of.
Right. I wish I had someone like that. It's just me here, but yeah, Brock versus Okada would be a banger, especially the Super 7. I don't know if you used any of the Super 7 figures before, but I really enjoy them. If you've never used them.
I'm about to say I've never gotten my hands on one.
Never had one. Yeah, I got the New Japan Super 7 Series 1, which, I mean, is a perfect perfect series. Will Ospreay, Okada, Tanahashi, and oh
Ooh.
shit, the Stone Pitbull.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's just
Oh, that's gonna cost a pretty penny on eBay, isn't it?
yeah, they're expensive now. I got lucky. I mean, it was expensive when I got it on Big Bag Toys, but that is a really stacked.
Yeah. Same thing. I saw the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson.
Yep, I just got those. I will have a video on YouTube, but I think I scheduled it for Wednesday.
Well, I know what I'm doing Wednesday.
Yeah, I opened those up. There's a little issues with the Doc Gallows, but I've been wanting them in the Fed so bad I had to do the check.
Right. I need to complete my Bullet Club.
Right. And right now my Bullet Club, I took it from another group I was working with. I don't know if you know them, but I can't even think of their name right now. It's been so long since they've been on hiatus for a long time. I think they just had a kid or something. But I've been
Okay.
working with them. I made their belts and stuff, printed them out, and kind of did a storyline with them. So he had a Bullet Club with Seth, AJ, and Finn Balor. And I'm kind of going to kill that group off here soon. With Seth got injured at Halloween, so he might be returning soon, but he got injured, and I just want those three guys are singles guys to me. I don't think they should be in a
Yeah.
or they're at least leaders of the faction at least. But
Right. And that's what I think my whole story with the Shield has been since I paired Mox. It's just constantly a power struggle because
right,
all of these guys are main eventers in their own right and don't need each other. They don't elevate each other anymore because it's really very few places for them to elevate.
and I need to get some more. I want the new Seth Rollins figure with the jacket. I
Yeah.
still have the flaming Seth Rollins, the only Seth Rollins I have. I want to get some new ones because I want to push Seth Rollins. So,
Listen, I'm always for a Seth Rollins push. He always deserves it.
right, you can put on any great match with him. His figures are great. They pose really good.
Yes.
So we'll try to get back on track with these questions. What are some storylines? I know we mentioned a few here, or some rivalries which are storyline based. What are some storylines you like to and enjoyed, and that you would like to put into your pick fed?
CM Punk and MJF story from 2021, early 2022. That is the best story I've seen in wrestling in a while. And then the Bloodline happened, which is another really good one. I'm trying to go back. I always try to do niche answers because everybody knows the big ones.
Yeah.
But right now, Punk MJF stands out in my head.
Yep.
Honestly, and again, take a shot every time I mention him. MJF, Bryan Danielson, and MJF John Moxley was a masterclass in the feud. Specifically, that episode of Dynamite.
Anything MJF, really. MJF Cody.
Yes. MJF Jericho.
Jericho. Oh, just MJF.
Even Wardlow, for as brief as it was.
Yeah. It could have been better. I wish it didn't get squashed, but maybe down the line, TNT title, World Championship, winner takes all, something like that. I don't know.
I'm here for it.
Right?
The Elite versus the Death Triangle wasn't really a story, but it was too many good matches in a row for me to not put it up here.
I mean, honestly, the Elite and Kenny, the Young Bucks, Kenny don't need stories, to be honest. I don't think they need a story.
Just say,
they just need matches, and they put on such a great story inside the ring. They don't need that little extra promo stuff or any backstage stuff. They just, hey, we're going to fight you guys. Let's go put on a major 5-star classic inside that ring there. And a lot of people say, where's the story? Where's the story? Those three guys don't need the stories.
But if you want a good Kenny story, go really do the history for Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay from earlier this year at Wrestle Kingdom. I'm going to say 14.
I think Kenny and the Young Bucks are not a lot of people might not accept this, but I think they're the best long-term storytellers in wrestling today. The stuff they do with these literally Kenny and Will Ospreay, that stuff goes way back. The stuff, anything with Bullet Club, that's just easy stuff to put together right now. And then the stuff with Hangman Adam Page, just end of last week.
Yes.
Man,
Watching
what's gonna do
BTE
that?
today and getting crumbs.
They're just too good. They're just. But I will say I did the MJF CM Punk rivalry. It might have ended at the pay per view at Riot, but we'll see. I think since you enjoyed that dog collar match, we might have to see another one because that dog collar 2-pack. Ooh,
Yes. Oh, it's pre-ordered already. It was pre-ordered for me the minute I
wish
saw
I
it.
had
I love it.
pre-ordered money. I don't have that pre-order type of money right now. I can't pre-order anything.
I'm very thankful that my birthday is Saturday because I don't either.
Right. But yeah, that's something I'm definitely gonna try to get.
I think I'm going to take, obviously, the characters, CM Punk versus... I'm going to take the characters of CM Punk and MJF and do a similar storytelling. I can't end it in a dog collar match. I need to find some way to up this. I might give them a Texas death match. I might give them a... I need them to make a cage for the authentic scale rings. I know they existed at some point in time, but that means they're like $500 on eBay now, and nobody has time for that.
Mm-hmm.
But, specifically AEW, please put out the cage already. They've given us 3 different rings. Just put the damn cage out.
Right. Blood and guts scale ring. Ooh.
Yes.
That'd be expensive as hell, but
absolutely worth it. Worth every penny.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mad that Mattel Creations hasn't done a War Games yet.
I mean, they kind of, but not for scale ring.
Yeah, no, that doesn't count.
Which I'm thinking of doing a War Games with those rings because my mother-in-law just bought 2 rings for cage rings for me for no reason at all. She just got them for me.
That's love.
And I was like, okay. But yeah, she just got me those, so I'm definitely gonna have to put together a makeshift War Games type thing sometime down the line.
I'm looking forward to it.
I do have plans on Elimination Chamber, but I don't.
That's another scale cage that I need.
That's something I want. I would take the little one too, but my God, people want $200 or more for it. I just like, dude, that thing's not worth it, and you're missing half the shit. So I'm thinking of making one out of cardboard and some shit from Home Depot, but we'll see. I got a lot of stuff I got to work on. But
sorry for my audio cut out.
No, you're good, man. You're good. We'll kind of go into the favorites more here. What's your favorite pay-per-view? What's that one pay-per-view you're like, this is the best pay-per-view I've ever seen?
Okay, I'm making my booker answer this one with me. Hey, what's our favorite pay-per-view? The Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble will forever be the best pay-per-view. Right. I love Forbidden Door. I love Double or Nothing and all of those things. They're all gorgeous. They're all wonderful. The Royal Rumble is the only pay-per-view where every year you're going to get excited about it, even if the last 12 were awful.
Right.
It's once you put that countdown timer on the screen, I'm going to count down. It's very simple. The Rumble always is going to have it should always have a good surprise. It always has a perfect blend of, your brawlers, your technical wrestlers, your comedic spots. I want to like, what did AEW call theirs? The Casino Battle Royals. What it feels so WWE perfected that, and then turned it into a pay-per-view.
Yeah,
and I kind of love it.
Right.
Well, so a huge fan of Money in the Bank, but that can technically go back when WrestleMania.
True. What are some of your favorite tag teams? I know you mentioned you had a tag team division. What are some of your favorite tag teams?
Okay, let's run this list off. FTR, the Lucha Bros, Young Bucks, top 3. They're wonderful. They're all great. My GOAT tag team until the Young Bucks inevitably take it over because apparently the Elite have taken over wrestling for me. The Hardys will be my top 1 for a very long time.
Right.
Edge and Christian were phenomenal. The Dudleys were phenomenal. I'm going to specifically say Gallows and Anderson, Omega, Hangman. There's so many good tag team wrestling is so much fun. But if I highlight anybody in this spot, highlight the Lucha Bros. Phoenix and Penta are Aussie Open was the one I forgot. Phoenix and Penta are master classes at this wrestling thing.
Right. They're on another level. What are some of your favorite championships? What are some of your favorite championship designs, championship wins, championship runs?
Okay, so apparently this is controversial.
Mm-hmm.
The Big Burberry belt is sexy as hell. It's kind of gorgeous. The AEW World Title in and of itself, it took so long to get used to because of how fucking big it is. But getting used to it, it's such a good looking belt. Getting into some favorite. Oh, I will never forgive them for changing the IC title design again. When Cody had the white strap classic design, it was the peak IC title, and I'll never forgive them for changing it. Vince McMahon forever made an enemy with me in that one. Trying to think of some of my favorite title runs ever. Honestly, I've been loving Roman's Universal run.
Right.
And as somebody who never really hated Roman, just understood that he needed changing drastically.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, since the first Jey Uso feud, it has been, to quote Sheamus, banger after banger after banger. I'm not a huge Walter Gunther guy. That being said, his IC title run has been hella entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
The Acclaimed just got off of a hugely fun run with tag titles.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody should love the Acclaimed.
Yep. So, what are some figures you're wanting? What are some of your favorite figures? What's the best figure to pose with? And kind of.
So despite me having 2 Ultimate Editions, Ultimate Cena and Kane,
Mm-hmm.
I end up not using. There's a running joke on my Fed that Kane, whenever he's on screen, is going to go through a table. I don't know why. It just happens like that. But right now, I think my favorite figure. I can't wait for the Blood and Guts 2-pack. And honestly, all the Blood and Guts figures are great. I think it's one of those things where if I could have had them as a child, I would have blown my own mind with that. But that's a gorgeous thing they did. So Blood and Guts Kenny, Blood and Guts Mox, Blood and Guts Britt Baker has been at the top of my wish list for months. Blood and Guts Thunder Rose is okay. She's just okay. I'll get niche. The Target exclusive Sammy Guevara looks really good. I need to get my hands on it.
Yeah, I'm still looking for the Darby Allin one. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. I don't remember what series. I think I have Unmatched 1, Unmatched 2 Darby. And I love that one. Not a lot of people have it. And it's such a great one.
I have that one. I have the other one. I want to get the Coffin Drop one and the Target exclusive one.
Yeah, the Coffee Drop one is great. Punk's latest, let me think of it. The Walmart exclusive or the Chase variant, they're the same damn figure. Is really good. Although I'm not one of the people that hates long tights Punk. I think it looks cool. But when those Ring of Honor Punks come out, when the Blood and Guts in the Ring of Honor shorts, and then the retro Ring of Honor Punk, if we're still getting it, I really hope so.
I hope so too.
They look gorgeous. Danhausen's figure. I don't know if anybody's seen too much of Danhausen's figure yet. That also looks beautiful. But I just really, really like Danhausen.
Right. That whole House of Black, I think, looks great. The suited AEW figures are awesome. I can't wait for the Brody King, not Brody King, Brody Lee suited figure, just so I can have a suited Wardlow that's not small. Oh,
right.
So great for the Fed.
I need them to put out a Joe. I somehow have missed out on every Elite Samoa Joe.
Oh, man.
So I need Joe.
You can probably get one for $20 or less, the red one at least. I got that one for pretty cheap. And then I went and got the blue one, as you saw in the pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. I'm making him. He was pretty dominant in that ladder match. So,
Penta El Cero Miro, Pentagon Jr., whatever you want to call him. Mm-hmm. He's also one of the most toyetic figures of or toyetic people of all time.
Mm-hmm.
If Rey Mysterio was like as a kid one of the like best, coolest figures you could have because of all the different things, Penta's gear alone makes him crazy.
Mm-hmm. I want a Joker gear, and I would love a shirt.
Yes,
The guy's so ripped, and you don't even know it. So
I
you always wear
want a
that shirt.
Joker gear, but I also want the all black gear. I don't know why they keep giving us the black and white and the black and gold. They're cool. They're very nice.
Mm-hmm.
When Penta puts on that black on black, though,
Yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't get the Joker gear for the Supreme, though.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I would have used it.
Yeah. Well, the Phoenix one that's coming out soon, the just normal one, not the Supreme, with that jacket. Oh, that was nice too. There's a lot of new stuff coming out. It's just, I don't have the money, and I gotta have them all.
Yeah.
I wish they'd slow down so I could maybe start a figure fund or something, but no, they're gonna pump out new shit every month, and I'm just gonna be sad.
I'm just gonna keep buying it. They're gonna keep taking my money from me,
right? So, kind of get into some more pig fed questions. What's the things you like? What's the things that you enjoy about pig feeding? What really makes you keep doing it?
For me, I love storytelling. It's really fun for me and my partner to sit here and build stories for these guys. I just recently got them into wrestling, so it's kind of cool for me. But also, I mentioned this earlier briefly, the ability to show different styles of wrestling through pig fighting. The fact that a Kenny Omega match does not look anything like a Wardlow or a Keith Lee match. They look completely different. They feel completely different. It's beautiful, and it's just so many combinations. I think I always had fun. I, as a kid, would just be in my room pick fetting for myself. I'd book a whole show, give it backstory, and then sit and play out all the matches.
Right.
And now I'm just doing it on a bigger scale.
Exactly. I feel like that's how we all started. We all started as kids, booking our shows, playing with them. Stuff I remember doing with my cousin.
Yeah.
Now we're just doing it on a much bigger platform, and just crazy, to be honest. You would have told me a few years ago I'd have probably $1,000 worth of toys, and I take pictures of them and post them on the internet. I'd probably think, yeah, right.
Right, you're crazy. Why would I do that?
Would I waste my time doing that? And now look at me. I literally got a basement.
Yeah, one of the best beds out.
So, off of that, we got to talk about the least favorite parts. What's some things that you're on your breaking point?
My old setup used to just be a chair on a table that housed my ring.
Mm-hmm.
And because I do comic book vetting, it ends up being a lot of set up a picture, take the picture, slight adjustment to show the next shot, set up again, take a picture. My back feels like I just went through a 15-minute match and took a powerbomb simply because just sitting still for that long. So some of the actual movements of it are so meticulous. And then everybody's experienced it, having a move that connects with another person, and right before you get the shot, they just fall over. It's the worst feeling.
Do you have a ref? Do you have a ref in your shows, or?
Not yet. That's something we're looking to do when we come back from this hiatus. We're looking to get that Double or Nothing ring, and Aubrey is going to be Aubrey doing Aubrey things.
Yeah, I want that figure bad. I want that one, but I'm using a makeshift one, just using the Sid Vicious gear from his. I just put it on the Sergeant Slaughter.
I'm about to say the Sarge.
Sarge. I was using Nubs, who has a nub hand, but he's just so horribly.
Rated. Excuse me. This is actually a little bit of niche. Yes, we do have a referee over here. Mm-hmm. I have two basic figures. I've never been a huge fan of the basics. In recollecting, I got two by chance because they didn't have better figures out at the time. Mm-hmm. AJ Styles is basic though. I put a vest on him, and I turned him into J.A. Styles. He is now the referee / interviewer. He does both. So it's just a fun little joke for me, my partner, and the rest of the Fed community. It's like, hey, because I have AJ on my roster. He's a current champion. Right. So this is J.A. Styles. No relation.
No relation. Exactly. I will say I do hate the basics as well, but there's some that have some great heads that I just gotta get that figure just for the head. Just for the head alone.
Yeah.
And they're great for crowd members. I mean, they hold their arms up good. They stand there.
They're cheap. You can get 1 million of them.
Yeah. I wish I had more because my crowd's kind of looking small. And I don't even have a crowd yet for my other arena. I'm literally printing out pictures and making cardboard crowd members.
I'll say this: even the detailing in your crowd, because I haven't gotten that far as to needing that. I'm very pandemic era wrestling apparently, which is limitations.
Yeah.
You have, I can't remember who was holding it, but there's a sign that I kept seeing as I was watching Riot, and it's just somebody BWF rocks, and I'm like, the fact that you took the time to do that is great. I love that.
Yeah, I think he's drunk, and a lot of people are drunk right now in my crowd and falling over. But I think that's a John Cena figure with a Rock shirt. I was like,
same thing. I know a Sammy figure came with signs. It was the most random accessory I've ever seen, but yeah, it had to be here.
Yeah, there's a lot of drunk fans out right now. They're all falling down. I'm gonna three.
Hey man, they're all enjoying some quality wrestling.
Right. I bumped the table right before the live, and they all fell over.
It'd be like that. My guys are just sitting in a box right now, moving to the bench.
Yeah. So, what? Refs. I would recommend not to have your ref in the background. That's something I recommend. Someone told me that, not just take him out. And then when you're doing your pins, you put them in frame. So that's something I recommend because the ref falls down so much.
Yes.
I think I've broken 2 refs already. I literally got the Sarge head. I had to buy a Ted DiBiase figure because I wanted the $1 million title. And he's on a Ted DiBiase body. So yeah, this ain't even the original Sarge body. So
for me, the reason I learned to not put the refs in the background, fun game for anybody that feels like it. If you go on my page, you can find several matches where I forget to put his hands down because it's the last thing I'm thinking about. I constantly have him looking like he's mid-match, just cheering, having the time of his life, and I'm just like,
Right. Kind of get more into there's a few questions here that I wrote off onto the side of my paper. I have a list here. A lot of people gave me some good questions throughout these, and 2 people watching right now, if you got questions or you know people that would want to come in here and ask questions, feel free to put them in the question bubble. I should have started that off when there's more people in here, but we just got talking. I just didn't want to interrupt you. But
we got right into it. Was having some fun.
Everyone feel free to ask questions throughout this. But here are a few that some people asked and older ones, and I just wrote it down. I thought they were great. Okay. What are some jobbers? What is a jobber in your Fed right now? Who's a guy that's losing every time?
A lot of people aren't going to like this. Triple H.
Triple H?
I tend to not know much of what to do with him because Triple H feels like such a product of his era. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't even say Sami Zayn would probably actually be the biggest jobber in my company right now. But even that was storyline purpose. Hangman Adam Page literally does not have a win, if I'm not mistaken. But even that is for storyline purpose. Triple H loses because I just need a body to lose to.
Right. My jobbers were a lot of storyline guys. And I don't know if you watched from the very beginning, but Kenny Omega was a big jobber for me.
That hurt me. I remember being hurt during those days.
He's never won a match until Riot, and I think him beating Okada with the history. I mean, that was an easy feud to put together. He returns from his hiatus and injuries after being kicked from the Elite, and just his old rival.
Yeah, that's been one of the most interesting things to see. I can't remember whose Fed it is, but somebody has Adam Cole running the Elite instead of Kenny.
Yeah. I mean, I just brought in Adam Cole. I'm going to do a little kind of what they did in real life where they all join up maybe. But we'll see down the line. But, yeah, I had Kenny Omega get kicked out, and I put Kevin Owens in there. I thought Kevin
– little Mount Rushmore shout-out.
Yep, exactly. I wanted to I wanted something different, but someone that had a history with them. I didn't want to throw in some random dude.
Right.
Some people do, like, randomly throw in, like, a Chris Jericho in there or something. I don't know. I saw
Yeah.
some guy have Chris Jericho as the leader of the Undisputed Era.
Although I will
I was
say
like,
this,
can that
I'm
work? But I just random.
I like when things like that make sense, like without trying to spoil it too much.
Right?
Ooh, damn. Well, I'm spoiling it already.
Yeah.
Jericho's gonna debut for us soon. Fuck,
Ah.
didn't realize that hadn't happened.
Oh, wow.
And when he does, he's gonna end up in a faction that he had a history with, but was never technically a part of. But he's going to replace just a body that I don't have because he fits the faction better.
All
I won't say what that faction is because I've already revealed too much. But
right. Right. So,
but
I think we asked that one. I don't think you
it's gonna
answered
be it.
this one. What's your favorite figure to fed with? What's the best figure to pose with and stuff?
Oh, right now I think it's Kenny. Specifically, I'm using the unmatched one. I think he was an unmatched one. The unmatched one Omega, and then I like switching into the ringside exclusive. The first scale ring they put out with the black and green tights.
Oh yeah.
I had that figure with the off skin tone. His arm ended up breaking, which is why I got a new one.
Yeah.
But now having those gear pieces, I love that gear with that top of Omega.
Yeah.
Until I can get the Supreme and get the Demon Slayer gear.
I just love the switchability of the AEW figures.
Yes. Like the fact when the Blood and Guts come out, instantly now I have two different gears for MJF because they didn't put blood on the legs. Look at that.
Which that's something I really hate about that CM Punk, but I mean, you can paint the blood off or you can just keep it on there. I mean, it's not that big a deal.
For me, I don't mind because I know the retro ROH Punk is coming out too.
Right. Right.
So there's enough pieces out now for you to build a modern, up-to-date, non-bloodied ROH-themed CM Punk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we got a question from the fans here. What's a match stipulation that you have never done in your Fed and would like to bring into it?
Steel cage.
Okay.
Easily.
Mm-hmm.
Easily. I think it'll be a challenge to figure out due to just visibility. So maybe Hell in a Cell would be a better one to say, but I love steel cage matches. I like matches where I get to kind of increase the level of violence a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And what's more fun than a good cage match?
I think I have only done one with Seth and Roman after Seth turned on Roman and Jon Moxley after their loss as their one match as a Shield. It's kind of slowly building to that rivalry more and more, the Shield debacle rivalry. But I wanted John to be in the main event picture. And Seth and Roman aren't in that category yet. But with this brand split, they both will be main event guys. So, yeah, the cage match is really fun. For me, the Elimination Chamber is one I want to do. But I got to build an Elimination Chamber first. So it is what it is. I'm slowly losing my voice. But this was a question I got asked not too long ago. Someone just messaged me and asked me this for some random reason. Who would you consider as your 4 pillars of WWE? I thought, man, dude, that's a
phenomenal
question. And I'll give you time to think. This was my answer. I said Cody Rhodes because he was the first guy I brought in to my Fed. I had a little comment, my little press conference. He was my first signee. And then I said Chris Jericho because he was my first ever world champion. And then I think I said I would have put Darby Allin maybe since he's my first X Division guy, or maybe one of those type of guys, maybe Jon Moxley. And then I also said Becky Lynch or Rhea Ripley as the fourth because Becky's undefeated. She's one of my most pushed stars. Same with Rhea, who just came back. If no one knew that, she came back at the Rumble, number 30, won it all after she got injured from Becky. Which I mean, that's just easy, good storyline I've been building, Becky and Rhea. So that's building up. But my Rumble's kind of different. You can use weapons, random entrants.
Yeah. When did that stop being a thing you could do in the Rumble?
Right? I don't know. They never use weapons, but
I had
used
Kane go
it in
through a
mine.
table in mine.
But yeah, the one thing that is different from mine, because I don't technically don't have a WrestleMania, I'm gonna have it where she could pick any pay-per-view in the next year to main event and challenge the champ. So that's something different.
A pseudo between Money in the Bank and the Rumble. It's up. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. My 4 pillars. Kenny has to be the first one. He's the longest reigning champion in company history, if I'm not mistaken, because he held his belt from the minute we started going live to the Rumble, which is technically still currently ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
So Kenny has to be one. MJF has to be one. Then it gets murky. I want to say Darby.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to constantly be using Darby more, but Darby and Hangman Adam Page, despite being a winless character on my show, or I think he might have gotten his first win very recently, actually. But Hangman Adam Page is definitely one of my pillars.
Yeah, I'm wanting to get Adam Page. I was going to do a plan where Kenny would come back after an injury, but I figured I wanted to bring him back sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to do a tag team title tournament with the surprise entrance against the Young Bucks, and Kenny and Hangman were going to debut there. Ooh. But stuff changed. But there's a little plan I had before. But we'll see. We'll see. Next year, I'm doing a men's Riot Rumble instead of the women's. We'll get a lot of new faces there. So it might be a while till we see Hangman. But I do have 2 brands, so we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see what the future holds.
So, kind of getting down here at the end of my list here. Kind of run us through your process of putting a show together and building for your pay-per-views. How do you put all your stuff together? Like I have a book here, get a lot of my notes down. That's how I do a lot of stuff. A lot of my planning and write down what I'm going to do.
If it wasn't spoiler heavy right now, I would show my notes app. My notes app is my best friend. I have my entire roster broken down, and then I have 2 separate notes of the Raw roster and the Dynamite roster. Mm-hmm. I have all of my pay-per-views mapped out in order of just which show is coming up, and as I'm preparing for a show, I'll go and I'm like, okay, what is the feud that is going to headline 3 shows from now? Mm-hmm. And so, like, I have a great idea as to what CM Punk just won the belt at the Rumble. Yeah. I know how CM Punk is going to lose the belt. I know when he's going to lose the belt. It'll be a while, but I have those things planned out. And for me, it's usually finding 2 wrestlers that I want to see fight, or a pairing that my co-booker, because he gives me some of the best stories I've ever had on this show. Specifically, it hasn't happened yet, but the TNT title picture was booked almost exclusively by my co-booker recently, and I've been loving the ideas. It's part of the reason OC is the current champion. Mm-hmm. But I'll find that, and then it'll be, all right, now build a story around them. Give them reasons, depths, motivations. Some stories I've had in mind since I started. I knew where I was going. Like certain characters, I know where I'm going with them. But just taking 2 guys that I want to see fight, want to see have a couple of good matches. Okay, now why? And then sitting and scripting that out. Same thing. I'm one of the few people who thinks a promo can be more fun to do than a match. I really wish that in the style of pick fetting I did, I could have some type of crowd interaction, because it feels cheap to kind of say, oh, the crowd says this so that a guy can respond to it. But those are also some of the best moments in promos.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, I know you're newer to this stuff, but what would you give someone that's just starting out? What advice would you give them to help them get them started and help them build their brand?
Never stop having fun. I'm one of the few people that I know who pick feds damn near exclusively for me. I love the small community that I've built around it. I love the fan base that I've built around it. But at the end of the day, if 0 people were watching, I'd still be doing it because I'm having fun. I love the stories that I'm putting together. I love the matches that I'm putting together. The biggest piece of advice I'd have to anybody is make sure you're always having a good time with this shit. It's so easy for it to become meticulous and annoying.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Which I felt that way starting early off. I wasn't getting a lot of views, and I just wasn't having fun with it. And then I went to Instagram, and it just blew up from there. So that's my biggest advice. Go on Instagram. Do not start on Facebook. Don't start over on YouTube or TikTok. Instagram is the place to be in the pig fed world. You will.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
think that's
on
because a lot of
Instagram.
the figure news drops here first.
Yeah. Guys like Danny Meltzer's on Instagram a lot. He does live sometimes, but it's hard to go big on YouTube. I only got like 100 subscribers on YouTube, and I got 1,000 here, so
Right.
it's totally different. You can grow
So,
so much faster
someone needs
here.
to make an account and call it PickFed Meltzer and just rate different PickFed matches.
Yeah,
See what's
I
great.
know a few people that have tried that. They're always like, I don't want to because Danny Meltzer does that. And I'm like, dude, he doesn't do it all the time though. He's
Right.
doing other stuff. So, but they never seem to do it or keep it up very long. But, yeah. So, we talked about that. So I don't know what's recently happened in wrestling. I guess the 60-minute Iron Man match with MJF and Danielson. I guess I asked your thoughts on that.
What a wonderful match. What a
Mm-hmm.
breathtaking start to finish classic. I think it might be the best Iron Man match I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Which, just a slight tangent really quickly, wrestling has gotten so much better over time.
Right.
Because I was going into the last man standing match between Roman and Brock ready to hate it. And it turned out to be the best last man standing match of all time. MJF and Danielson put together a perfect Iron Man match.
Right. I thought it was going to be drowned out and boring, but they really pulled it out. They did great, I thought.
And seeing MJF's physical toll that took on him, it's something.
Which I feel like that stuff was probably exaggerated a little bit on his part.
Definitely.
Because that guy's he
The
is one of the most shaped professional wrestlers right now. It's crazy. It's crazy how much bigger and he has been since taking his little break. What's up, All Elite Chris? If you guys got any questions, I think we're pretty close to the end here. A lot of people just left, but if you got any questions for me, anybody want to comment any questions? We got another here. What's everyone's thoughts on Cody versus Roman? Who do you guys want to win? I'll let you start that.
I think if Cody doesn't win, WWE's in a very bad spot. I think you had a guy who could have done it in Sammy. Yeah. I think you have Jey Uso left to kind of really bookend Roman's reign. But I think Cody has to win. I think you need to do something to move it forward.
Right. Yeah, I absolutely agree on that. If they don't have Cody win, that's the biggest mistake they're going to have.
Yep.
In recent history. It's going to be
the biggest one since at least Daniel Bryan didn't win the Rumble.
Right? Or Chris Jericho not winning. There's a lot of stuff.
Why hasn't he won one?
Exactly. I guess I do have another question here because this is the first time anyone's really had a co-booker. How did you guys? I don't know if it's another guy. It could be girl.
My partner ends up doing so much of my production. They find it adorable that I got so back into just collecting figures that I'll sit and I'll be talking to them, and they started kind of bouncing ideas off me. Same thing in the newer era of WZW, instead of being a window or flags in the background, it became a blackout curtain all the way around. That is credit of my booker. In fact, my ring broke a very long time ago, and the only reason it's been even slightly usable is because they put it back together. It's the thing where we just live together, and because our interests tend to be mixed in, one TV, one bedroom, we found a way to just do it together and make it kind of enjoyable. I still be having to tell them their ideas suck. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, that's not a lot of people having that second person to do it with. A lot of people have been doing it by themselves, like I am. And it's really cool seeing someone have someone to do it with. So
Right. And it also helps for to divide that roster out, because I don't have to focus on everybody's story.
right,
Having somebody who's as all in on Orange Cassidy as I am Kenny Omega and Punk
hmm
helps to make nobody feel like they're getting buried, getting lost in the mix.
right, right. That'd be nice. I'd love to have someone that could just come over and do the other pick fed for me. That'd be nice too. So I don't have to do both of them. But kind of go off your Orange Cassidy thing. I have the best friends in Orange Cassidy in my Fed. They had a little thing, a little rivalry with the Bloodline. They had a few matches with them. What are your thoughts on the Orange Cassidy figures? I feel like it's the absolute worst figure ever in history to pick fed with, and I just hate it. I just hate the Orange Cassidy figure. But I love him as a character, but I just him being such a bad figure.
For me,
I don't want to push him.
For me, he's had 2 figures released. The second one, which is the one I have, fuck them for not giving him both the pocket hands. I don't know why you didn't do that. It's like the one thing. But other than that, yes, I can say the OC figures are not the easiest to pose, obviously, given the rubber.
Yep.
That being said, I love those figures solely because it fits. Like Orange Cassidy's lack of mobility, for lack of a better term, if you're tricky with it, you can still get him into some really good shots. I think giving the knee pivot completely 360 was a wonderful idea for that. Still gives him the ability to do like a Hurricanrana, a Frankensteiner, those, but just the ability to put the hands in the pockets is too elite to me. And I love doing it. I wish that his legs had some sort of forward movement, because doing his iconic kicks, it always looks kind of bad. But I take it as a challenge. I just take it as a challenge to be a little bit more creative with OC's matches.
Well, I don't really have any other questions here. I mean, if you got time, I mean, I don't have anything planned. You can ask me questions, but I'll kind of go to end it off here. If not, thank you, man. This has been a great interview. This one's gone long on, and you had some great, interesting topics. A lot of stuff you pointed on with your Fed. I want to thank you for joining this.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. We've had this in the workings for a while, and I'm glad that I could finally make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely appreciate it. Let me go look who my next guest is, because I normally forget to say who that is. I'm going to go look on that real quick.
Rob?
By a 33-year-old woman he dined with at a downtown Los Angeles sushi restaurant, replacing ecstasy, also known as MDMA or Molly.
All right. The next guest is HWE.
Ooh.
Not really too familiar with him, but I think he's another smaller guy and newer to it that I think is going to be pretty fun to talk to. I think April's completely booked, so if anyone's watching this later on at the end, I got openings in May. May is completely open. Any Monday on May. Please, anyone, feel free to message me. I know Raken 316 was afraid to message me. He said he wanted to do this, so I messaged him, and he's booked later on. So chat with him. I really enjoy his stuff. But yeah, anyone, feel free to message me if you want to do this. I'm thinking of going back with some old people that have done this. So I may hit you up once again if I want to do this again with you in a few months or so, man.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd absolutely love to.
Well, anyone got any questions real quick? If you got any questions, I'll answer those as well. But I think this is a good ending point.
I'm about to say, I think this is a great way to, great place to wrap it up. One more time, just thank you for having me. I love being on here. I love this series. It's so interconnected with the pig fetting community. It helps to feel more like community. I appreciate your work. I appreciate you having me. I appreciate your questions. I appreciate everybody that stopped in the chat to say hi, to catch some answers, to ask some questions. Y'all are all lovely. I love all of you. WZW will be back very, very soon, bigger than ever.
Absolutely. Everyone make sure to go follow him. Thanks for being on. Bye, everyone. Have a good night. And, yeah.
All right.
See you.
See ya.